The Galactic Assembly had faced crises before: plagues, wars, collapsed stars, but this was different. Deneb 6 had gone dark, not because of politics or weather, but because of something alive. Something no species could stop. The initial distress call came from a Zentari terraforming crew. Static, screaming, then silence. Every scout team sent after vanished. Every elite unit, shredded. The creature didn't just kill, it studied, mimicked, adapted. They called it the Zarnok. One delegate described it as evolution incarnate, another as death given form. Every species had tried their best. None returned. Debates dragged for days, each race offering theories and reasons to avoid further losses. Then, in a moment of near desperation, the name was spoken: humans. The room fell silent. Some laughed, brushing off the suggestion. Others hissed in disapproval. Humanity was young, volatile, unrefined. They weren't scientists or diplomats. They were survivors. Their history was soaked in blood and fire. But even the most skeptical couldn't ignore the facts: humans had survived environments other species wouldn't approach. They tamed nuclear winters. They turned deserts into cities. They fought wars they shouldn't have won. The motion passed with hesitation. A single message was sent to Earth. No elaborate greeting, no protocol. Just the data: Deneb 6, coordinates, situation status, classified extreme. Earth's reply came in less than a minute. Squad Echo 7 en route. Prep site. No fanfare. No politics. Just readiness. Across the galaxy, there were stories whispered in shadows about human shock teams. They didn't follow protocols. They didn't respect alien caution. They solved problems and left scars. Echo 7 was one such team. Veterans of rogue AI hunts and feral planet reclamation missions. Officially, they didn't exist. Unofficially, they were the reason some nightmares stopped spreading. Alien officials monitoring the situation prepared evacuation contingencies. They expected either the humans to fail like everyone else, or to cause even more damage. What they didn't expect was the indifference with which the humans approached the task. No rituals, no tech displays, no morale-boosting speeches. Just a grizzled woman in her 50s named Commander Reyes, reading the mission brief like it was a grocery list. This thing adapts. Good. So do we. The transport ship vanished into hyperspace. Deneb 6 awaited. Out there, on a planet cloaked in darkness and ruin, something monstrous prowled. The galaxy's apex predator, born from evolution unchecked. It had killed warriors, melted minds, and bent physics to its will. But it had never met a species that ran toward the fight with a grin. It had never faced humanity. And deep in the void, as the Zarnok's tendrils dragged another sensor drone into pieces, something shifted. The air changed. A new scent, unfamiliar. A sound, steady and slow. Heartbeat. Human boots touched alien soil. The game had changed. The terrain was broken and scorched, jagged rock split by deep claw marks. Echo 7 moved like ghosts, their boots silent, eyes scanning every shadow. No greetings. No introductions. Just motion. Reyes took point, a low growl in her voice as she ordered the team to spread out. These weren't clean-cut soldiers in polished armor, they were weathered, scarred, and silent. Each carried personal gear, tweaked and scarred from previous deployments. This wasn't their first dance with death. They studied the remains of the forward base. No bodies. Just blood smeared across walls, ceilings, soaked into dirt. Something massive had torn through reinforced plating with ease. One door had been bent outward, not inward. Whatever had done this didn't break in. Something broke out. No words were wasted. Sensor nodes were dropped, traps laced with chemical signatures and compressed thermite. Motion-sensing lures disguised as prey animals were set in motion. Not to kill. To test. To learn. The first sign came at dusk. A shimmer along the tree line. Then a low, gurgling sound. It wasn't natural. The mimicry had begun. The voice was wrong, twisted, an attempt at human speech, warped and raw. Help me, the voice of Private Halden, who'd been reported missing by the last survey team. But Halden was already dead. They didn't react emotionally. Reyes tapped her comms. Stay sharp. It wants fear. Don't feed it. Moments later, it struck. A flash, black tendrils, gleaming bone, heat signature scrambled. It moved faster than anything recorded. Private Rios disappeared into the trees. No scream. Just silence. A flash of static hit the team's HUDs. Then nothing. The rest of the squad locked in. Reyes didn't order a retreat. She ordered a push. They fanned out wide, forcing the creature into a natural canyon. They had prepped that spot an hour ago, trigger lines, vibration mines, heat traps. The plan wasn't to kill it. It was to provoke it. Study its movement. Make it bleed. They knew the trap wouldn't hold. It wasn't meant to. The mines detonated. Fire rolled down the ravine. Shrieks echoed off the cliffs, inhuman, guttural, pissed. The beast didn't retreat. It charged. That's when Reyes smiled. Now we're getting somewhere. Jackson took position above, shotgun ready. Connors ran the drones, logging speed, muscle response, light sensitivity. Every move was recorded. The Zarnok adapted to everything thrown at it, smoke, sound, gas. But it didn't expect the terrain itself to fight back. A weighted net triggered from overhead, lined with needles dipped in a sedative cocktail designed for megafauna twice its mass. It slowed. For a moment. Then it evolved again. Tendrils curled inward, deflecting the barbs. Eyes shifted shape. Skin hardened. It wasn't just a predator. It was learning faster than expected. Reyes tapped her headset. Good. Let it learn. The trap wasn't for now. It was for later. Because humans didn't believe in fair fights. They believed in winning. And sometimes, that meant feeding the monster just enough to make it think it had the upper hand. Only then do you strike. The data came in fast, too fast. The creature's neural pathways were evolving in real time. Every trap, every weapon used against it became ineffective within minutes. By all logical standards, the mission should have been scrubbed. But Echo 7 wasn't built on logic. They were built on grit and madness. Reyes reviewed the data, eyes calm. The beast wasn't unbeatable. It was overconfident. Jackson volunteered for the next phase. No armor, no weapons, just a tracking drone and a signal beacon embedded in his back. It needs to think we're running out of ideas, he muttered before disappearing into the forest. His job wasn't to fight. It was to bait. The mimicry escalated. The Zarnok started copying human laughter, warped chuckles in Reyes's voice, distorted battle cries from long-dead soldiers. Psychological warfare. But the team didn't flinch. They laughed back. Dark, brutal humor born from years of surviving where others died. If the creature thought fear was the path to dominance, it had picked the wrong species. Jackson led it to the old mining shaft. Half collapsed, rich with unstable minerals, perfect for improvisation. Every footstep was recorded, every moment measured. The creature was relentless, but sloppy when hungry. It fell into the first snare, gravity-triggered collapse, buying Jackson a 10-second lead. Enough. Deeper inside, the walls narrowed. Echo 7's engineers had worked fast. Pressure plates, fragmentation seams, even a directional EMP ready to short-circuit any sensory overload the beast relied on. As it entered, the pulse hit. For the first time, the creature hesitated. Its body twitched. That's when the gas filled the shaft, a human-designed hallucinogen made from Earth's own predatory plant toxins. Not lethal, but disorienting. The Zarnok screamed, tendrils lashing. It didn't run. It adapted. Faster. Stronger. Smarter. But that had always been the plan. Reyes entered without armor. Just a combat knife and a steel syringe. The others watched from above, silent. No one moved. This wasn't about tech anymore. It was about who could endure more. She stood in front of it, no fear, no weapons drawn. It lunged. She didn't dodge. The bite landed. Flesh tore. Then the real weapon entered its system. The neurotoxin had been designed using data from a dozen alien races. Pain-inducing, not fatal. Not for the creature. Not for her. It triggered convulsions in anything with a central nervous system. The Zarnok reeled, limbs flailing, senses crashing. Reyes fell to one knee, blooded but grinning. Told you we learn fast. It tried to flee. Too late. The walls lit up. Magnetic clamps, improvised from mining gear, activated and pinned it in place. Tranquilizers followed. Then cryofoam. Still alive. Still furious. But captured. Not by luck. Not by power. But by patience, pain, and planning. The creature hadn't just met another predator. It had met something worse. A human with a grudge. The Zarnok snarled behind reinforced glass, its body twitching under the effects of the neurotoxin, its eyes locked on Reyes with something dangerously close to fear. For the first time since its discovery, the beast wasn't adapting. It was processing. Learning. Not about weapons or traps, but about limits. And that even it had some. The alien envoys stood in stunned silence. What no weaponized species had accomplished, a single human squad had executed in days. Not by overwhelming firepower or superior tech, but by treating the hunt as a war of will, not muscle. The delegates asked how Reyes had known the plan would work. She didn't blink. Didn't know. Just made sure it hurt worse than it learned. They asked why she let it bite her. Why she risked everything on a gamble that could have ended in disaster. She leaned against the steel railing, blood-soaked bandage on her arm. Because sometimes pain is the price of certainty. And humans don't mind paying. Offers followed: access to galactic weapons programs, permanent contracts, full integration into interspecies command. Reyes rejected them all. Earth wasn't interested in power plays or political rewards. They'd come to solve a problem, not join a club. Next time something like this gets out, she said, try remembering the things you avoid are the ones built to survive the worst. We're not here to babysit your mistakes. The creature tried mimicking her voice again. It failed. The cadence was wrong. The rhythm off. Even now, it was still trying to dominate through imitation. Reyes laughed. You think speaking like us makes you one of us? We earn every scar. You're just a glitch that got too proud. The alien council remained divided. Some were terrified, others in awe. None could deny what had just unfolded. Humanity wasn't the strongest species. Not the most advanced. But they were the most impossible. Throw them into chaos, and they'd organize. Wound them, and they'd weaponize the pain. Break them, and they'd crawl forward anyway. The Zarnok was transported to a containment satellite orbiting a dead star, under human supervision. No chances taken. No experiments allowed. Reyes made sure of it. Before leaving, she carved a single word into the steel beside the observation deck: earned. Back aboard their transport, Jackson looked out the viewport as Deneb 6 shrank into the distance. You think it'll learn from this? Reyes replied without looking. Doesn't matter. We already did. The message had been sent, loud and brutal. Humanity didn't fight fair, didn't play by the rules, and didn't back down. The galaxy had a new variable, one no calculation could predict. The delegates would speak in hushed tones for years. Not about the creature. But about the humans who came, saw, bled, and still walked away. The galaxy's deadliest beast had met something worse than extinction. It had met survival with teeth. And it blinked first.